What's going on? Today we're going to be building this. So this right here is a calculator app that works offline. So this should focus on the phone any moment from now. And you can see right now that my phone is on airplane mode, but this calculator still works very well and it's installable. So we have the app icon right here. We click on it and we have a calculator app, just like any mobile app would work, Android, iOS, and all that. We'll be doing this with pure HTML, pure CSS, pure JavaScript, and it's going to be a progressive web app. So we're working with the service worker for this, and this is going to be fun. I can't wait to get started. Let's dive right in. All right, let's have another look at the calculator we're about to build before we dive into the code. There are so many ways to build a calculator. We don't have only one way. This is the repository for this calculator, and I'm going to be leaving a link to it in the description of this video. I have two of my implementations for building a calculator in this repository. There's the master2 branch, which is the default branch in this repository, but there's also the master branch, which contains another one of my implementations. And this is quite different. The code is also understandable because I use a lot of pure functions, but it's longer than the implementation we're about to do now. So the one we're about to do now is what I just built today. I'd love you to go check out the master branch after the video. So after you're done building along with me, please go check out the master branch and compare the two implementations. All right, let's get started. So you can go over to this URL right now. I'm also going to leave a link in the description below. Go over to this URL on your mobile phone and you're going to get a prompt to install the application. You can install it and then open it like a regular mobile app, and you have your calculator right there working offline. Okay, now we can get started. First thing we want to do, inside my projects folder, I'm going to create another folder named calculator. So this is calculator, and then open it up with WebStorm. So this should go to my desktop projects and calculator. Now we open up our calculator folder. This is what we have. These are calculators currently empty. There's nothing inside. So the first thing I want to do is create an index.html file. So index.html, but WebStorm has an easy way to do this for me. So I get like a boilerplate code. So I click on HTML file and then HTML file right here and index. So that gives me boilerplate doc type if I want to save time. Index.js and then index.css. So that's what we have right now. Okay, how do we start? Index.html file. We already have our character set as UTF-8. We also need this meta name. So this is going to help with responsiveness. So meta name equal to viewport. All right. So that helps with the responsiveness. We have a title. Let's name this awesome calculator. And let's get a style sheet. So link and rel style sheet href is equal to index.css, and we're going to add icons later on, or maybe we should just do that right now so we don't have to come back here. I'm going to leave a link to these different icons. So this is the icon for the calculator. I'm going to paste this right here, but I'll leave a link to the different images. So inside the assets folder, there's a calculator icon, the one you're going to see on your home screen. So when you install the app, you're going to see this icon, and yeah, so that's what we're going to be using. So we have like the different sizes for the different phone sizes and all that. Now back to the index.html file. I want to add 4 icons. So that's link, rel style sheet. This time around, this is icon, and then href / icon 192.png. This one right now on line 8 is the favicon. When you open the calculator on your browser, that one you see at the top of the tab. But for the different icon sizes, the one we're going to see when we install our PWA, we'll do that in the manifest.json file. After we create our calculator, I'll show you how to make it a PWA. Now the next thing we want to do is import our script file. So a JavaScript file, let's do that right here. So this is scripts, and src is equal to ./index.js, and that's it. Now let's test our application. So h1 and hello there. I can open this right here in WebStorm so we can see exactly what we're doing right now. Now that's just to test that our application is working. We don't need the h1 tag. Let's have a div, and then we'll give it the class name calculator. So this is using emet for the shorthand form of creating div with classes. So div with class name of calculator, and we also want div with class name of display. So div.display, and this is for the display screen. So I'm going to open up the calculator once again. The whole calculator is this div, so everything is inside the div of calculator, and then this screen right here, that's the display screen we're about to create, so that if we type 5, that shows up in the display screen. So that's the display class. We also need the one for the controls, which is the last div wrapper we need right now. So div.controls, and this is going to contain all the buttons. So all these buttons right now are going to be inside this controls div. And let's start creating the buttons. So what I'm going to do right now is just copy what I already have and paste it here to save us time. So those are the buttons, and I'm going to explain this to you right now. On line 14, we start with button class of teal. That's this color. So this is the teal color. So whichever one we want to be teal, we give it the class teal, and then we're going to style that in the CSS file. And then we have C for the clear button, which is to clear all. So right now we can click on C, and that clears everything. And we also have button class of teal for the empty. This is an empty button, doesn't do anything, just for aesthetics, to make it look good. Then we have the one for modulus. We have the plus button. We have 7, 8, 9 minus. It goes in teal, the teal color. We have 4, 5, 6 X, which is for times. 1, 2, 3 divides, 0 dots, the full stop, and then another empty button. I want you to implement something here after this video, but I'm going to tell you later on. And then there's the equal sign. All right, so that's it. Those are the buttons we have right now. You can see them right now. They're not styled, but all this is going to change when we go back to the index of CSS file to start the styling. Right in the index of CSS file, the first thing we want to do is remove the default margin and padding that comes with our HTML page. So margin 0, and then padding as 0. So that's us removing the default margin and padding, because we're going to be opening this in the mobile phone, and we don't want those we don't want that margin and padding there. We want it to fill the whole screen. Now we want to style the calculator class, and let's start by giving it the background. So this is background, so 1010 or 10, and that's the background. I just want to give it a width of 25 em, so 25 em, and margin of 5 em, and auto, so 5 em for top and bottom, and then auto. So that brings it to the center, and that's for the calculator right now. Let's go to the display. So dot display and background, this should be hash 222. So that should be enough, 222, or you can go with the 6 characters. So 222, and that's background for the display. But nothing's going to happen yet until we give it a height. First of all, let's also give it the color. So color of hash FFF, which is white, and that's for color. We'll also give it, let's align the text to the right, font family, Arial, comma, Helvetica. We also want sans serif. We have font size as 1.7 em, height as 6 em, line height. Okay, let's save this first of all, so I explain why we're using line height. Let's come over to the index.html file and write something here. So let's say this is 5 plus 5, right? So we can see what we're doing. Now I want the line height to be a bit bigger than the height, so we can say this line height. What we want to do right now is bring down this 5.5 plus 5, bring down the text to somewhere like the center. Is too close to the top right now, so that's why we have line height right here, and it could be 6 em. That brings it to the center, but we want it not in the center. It should be closer to the bottom than the top. So this is right here, 8 em for line height. And Let's also add a padding. So 0 for top and bottom and 1.5 em for left and right. All right, now that's the display. See, our calculator is really looking good. Once we style the buttons, it's going to look perfect. So the buttons, remember, they're inside the controls class. This is the controls class. So let's style that in the index.css file. Now we have .controls and display grid. Since we have all these buttons, we're going to use grid to style them. So display grid and then grid template columns. So we want 4 buttons per row instead of everything on one line. We want 4 buttons per row. So grid template columns, this should be, we could write this in 2 ways. So one F arrow, one F arrow, one F arrow, and one F arrow. F arrow is a fractional unit. So this is just going to divide everything into 4. So we have 1, 1, 1, 1. That's 4. Save this and look at that. Those are the buttons. We could also do it this way. We have repeat and then 4, 1 F arrow. So repeat this 4 times, 1 F arrow, and same thing. Okay, now that we have that, we also want to add padding, and that should be 0.7 em for top and bottom and 0 for left and right. All right, we also need margin. So margin auto and 0.5 em. Yeah, and that's it. Looking good, right? Now we need to style the buttons individually. So that should be the button tag. We're going to style the button tag directly. Now let's do this. So this is controls.controls and then the button tag. So all the button tags inside the controls class. Now let's style that. Start with background, and this should be #222, same thing, 222, and color FFF. Height, we have height as 5.5 em. Let's see what we have so far. Look at that. All right, we also need to add a cursor, because right now when we hover on these buttons, it doesn't show us that it's clickable, so we don't know that we can click on these buttons. So let's add cursor as pointer, and let's try hovering again. So look at that. Now it looks clickable. Okay, let's add margin of 0.5 em, and that separates it, makes it look a bit bigger. And so that if you're clicking on it, if you're pressing it with your hand on a mobile device, there's enough spacing between the buttons, so you don't go mistakenly press 8 when you mean to press 5 or 7. So we have margin right there. We also want to remove the default border for the button so that we can style it ourselves. So border on set right there. It looks a lot neater. Look at this. So the difference. Already looking great. The next thing that's going to make it look really amazing is adding those colors. But before that, let's add a border radius so that there's some kind of roundness at the corner. So border radius of 0.5 em. And look at the buttons right now. We also want to add remove the default outline. So outline right here, this should be on set rather. So on set. We also want to do this when we hover on this. So when we're on any of these buttons, we want something to happen. So .controls button and then hover. On hover, want to change the background, and that should be 333333. Now look at this. Makes it lighter, so you know that you're currently hovering on something. All right. Also, we want to do when it's active. So when we click on it, so we want the user to know that they've just clicked on something, they've pressed it. So something should happen. It should shift a bit, so you get the feeling of you're pressing the button. So when you click on it, something should happen. Let's use the active pseudo class. So .controls again, button, and then active. And right here we have. Now we want to move this a bit. So this is transform, and then translate Y. Translate Y. So that just moves it a bit vertically, 0.5 em. Now let's try that. Look at this. So you feel like you're clicking a button. Look at that. All right. What else do we need right here? Let's see. So we've done for active. Next, we need to style the different colored buttons. So the teal class right here, we're gonna add styling for the teal class. Let's still put this inside controls. So dot controls dot teal, and then all we're gonna do is give it a background of teal. That should be 005755. Look at that. Right now, when we hover on the button with class of teal, it doesn't look as good as the colors look on the button with the black background. So we also want to have a different background for the tealed buttons. Let's do that right here. So controls, and then we have dot teal, and then on hover, want to give it its own color. That's background, and we have hash 006664. Now, lastly, let's add a media query. So at media screen, and I'm going to show you why right now, this time around. Let's go over to Chrome now. We should be able to open this right here, so that the reason I'm using WebStorm for this is because once we save, it just reloads automatically. So the change just reflects automatically. I don't have to reload myself. So I click on Chrome right here in the index.html file, and that takes me to this awesome calculator index.localhost. So there's this one, which is the hosted one. This is the localhost calculator. Now, what was I going to show you? Let's come right here to not application. Right here, click on this mobile button right here. So the mobile button at the top of this black window, click on the mobile button then, so that I can see this on mobile. Now this is what it looks like on mobile. I like using this Moto G4 to test out my mobile apps. Right now it's okay on desktop. It's okay this way. It's okay that there's this white space and there's this white space below. But on mobile, we want it to look like a real application. So let's remove this white background at the top. Let's make the calculator fill the whole screen. In essence, that's what I'm saying. So how we're going to do that? Let's go back to the index.css file. And we need media query for this. Since the desktop implementation is already okay, we want to change just for the mobile. So at media, then we have screen and max it right here. When I was building this, I had a very confusing problem. I was wondering why my media query was not working. And it was later when I realized that there was no space between and this opening parenthesis. So very important, you have to add a space. I kept on wondering why my media query was not working. I was really confused. Okay, so this is media query, and then style calculator a bit differently. Right now we're going to say width, fill the whole screen, so 100 VW, and height, fill everything, so that's 100 VH. Next, margin auto. So right now, currently for desktop, margin is 5 EM for top and bottom, but right now we say no, margin auto, everything. All right, look at that. So this is already small screen. Now we're done with the HTML and CSS. Great. Let's go over to the JavaScript. I will also do something with service worker in the index.html later on, but that's not right now. Now, how do we go about making our calculator work? First of all, let's go over to the index.html file and remove this 5+5 on our screen. We don't need it anymore. And then whenever we hit something here, so hit 7, we should see 7 on the screen. 8, 9, 6, 3, 2, 1, 0, and all that. All right, so the first thing we want to do is declare a variable named display, and we want to get the screen. So that's the display screen, and document a query selector dot display. So remember, that's the class we're using here in the index.html file for the display screen. Next, we want to get the control buttons. So all these buttons right now, let's get them, and that should be document dot query selector. First of all, we get controls, and then dot children. So the children, all the children of this controls div, all the children right here, those are the control buttons, and that's it right here. So document query selector dot controls dot children. Next thing we want to do is see how we can get the display screen to change whenever we click on a button. We want to see how we can put that on the display screen. So now that we have the controls buttons, let's loop through it. So we are going to use the for of loop. So for let button of control button. So for each button, we'll add an event listener. So button.add event listener, and on click, when user clicks on it, do something. Right here we have a function, and then display.inner text equal to button.inner text. Right here. So this button right here, dot inner text, I for inner text right here. So for each button, just say this: display.inner text equal to button.inner text, and click on 7. Look at that, we have 7. 8, we have 8. 9, 6, 3, 2, 1, 0. So this is display.inner text, and that's equal to button.inner text. But we have a problem, and that's that we don't want just 8. We want 7 and 8. We want 8 and 9. But whenever we click on a new button, a different button, it replaces the other button. So how we fix that is this: plus equal to button.inner text, and that's going to append what we already have to the new one. So look at that: 7, 8, 9, 6, 5, 2, 1, 4. Now let's destructure button.inner text and give it a more understandable name. So right now it's named inner text, but really is the button value, so btn value, and that's equal to button. So anywhere we want to use this, we can just say btn value. So this is me destructuring normally. Normally, if I do this, that'll be, we can use inner text right here, but I want to rename this so it's more understandable. So this is the button's value. So display.inner text plus equal to the button's value. Let's try that again. So 8, 9, minus, times, and all that. So that's it. All right. When a user types, let's say you want to do 8 plus 5. When I type 8 right here, and then I go on to type the plus button, and then 5, there should be a way to separate these three. So we have 3 different types of characters. 8 right here, it's on its own, and then we have the symbol plus, and then we have 5. So we want to separate these 3. So that should be first value. 8 is the first value, and then we have plus as the symbol, and then we have 5 as the second value. So let's clear this again, because right now we have 8 as the first value, but we can also have 89 as the first value. So we don't want just one character as the first value. The first value can be so many characters as first value, and then we have the symbol, and then we have the second value right here. Let's create a variable for the first value. So when user types for the first value, whatever user types for the first value, that's going to go inside of the first value variable. We'll also create a variable for the second value. So that's going to contain the second value variable. The reason we are putting this in variables is so that we'll be able to easily calculate it later on. And let's also create a variable for the symbol. So when user types a symbol, we take that to this symbol variable, and we have that right now. Now, inside of our function, we want to be able to detect when user clicks a symbol. So there should be a difference. When user clicks a button, we know that it's a button. So like 7, 1, 2, 3, 0, and all that. And then when user clicks a symbol like this C for clear, the modulus symbol plus, minus, times, we should know that it's modulus. Once again, let's clear this div. Okay, so we want to be able to know the symbols. How we're going to do that is we're going to create another variable right now for all the symbols. So let's name this all symbols variable, and then we're going to put all our symbols here. So we have plus, we have minus, we have X for times, we have divide, and then we have this percentage sign. We also have C. We also have equal to. All right. So those are all our symbols. Now what we're going to do right here is say, so inside of this event listener function, we're going to declare a variable. So let's move this to the bottom. And right here, we'll declare a variable named btn value is symbol. So this is how we're going to know if the btn value is a symbol. This variable is going to contain a boolean. It's a boolean variable, so it's going to contain either true or false. And here's our condition right now. So all symbols dot includes btn value. So you can see the reason we destructured this and renamed this, because we're already using it in two places right now. So if the value of the button can be found in the all symbols array, then that means that the btn value is symbol. But if this returns false, so if we can't find the value of the button in the all symbols array, then that means that the btn value is symbol is false. So that's it. So btn value symbol is either going to be true or false. Now the next thing we're going to say is this: if there's a first value, so if the user has already typed something, and if we put something in the first value, remember when the user starts typing, when the screen is clear right now, the user starts typing, the values that the user is imputing in the screen, they go to the first value variable. Now if there's a first value, right, if there's already something in the first value variable, and then the user hits a symbol, so btn value symbol, so only do this if there's something in the first value variable. So if there's something in the first value variable and the user hits the symbol button, then we want to say this: so symbol is equal to btn value. Now the reason we're doing this only if there's a first value is because a user might want to type -9 as a first value. So let's clear the display again. Now a user might want to type -9 as the first value. So if the user types -9, this minus is not the symbol we're looking for. This minus is part of the first value. So -9 is the first value. Minus is not the symbol, because the user can say -9 and then +5. So plus right here is the symbol, but minus is part of the first value. So if there's something in the first value and then the user types a symbol, then symbol is equal to the btn value. All right, so that's for the symbol. Now if there's no symbol, if we've not put anything inside of the symbol variable yet, that means that the user is still imputing the first value. So right here we'll say else if, and then there's no symbol. So if there's no symbol, then let's put something inside of the first value. So no symbol yet, that means yeah, this is going to the first value. So first value plus equals to btn value. So if there's no symbol yet, once again we're going to clear this. There's supposed to be an easy way to reload right here in WebStorm. So if there's no symbol right now, 8, 9, that means there's no symbol right now. So this still goes to the first value. Everything here is still going to the first value. So unlike 18 we have here, if there's no symbol, then first value plus equals, remember we're appending so that we don't end up replacing, we're just adding, appending, so concatenating. So first value plus equals to btn value. And we also want to do this again, else if there's a symbol right now, so that means we want to put that in the second value. So if user has hit the symbol, right, then everything that comes next goes inside of the second value. So right here we have second value plus equal to and btn value. All right, and finally, so what we have here right now, if we click on this equal sign, we are seeing it, but really in our calculator we don't want to see the equal sign. Once again, I'm going to clear this. In our calculator we don't want to see the equal sign. We want it to be that if we hit 36 and then -9 and then hit the equal sign, it just does the calculation for us and gives us the result. So here's what I mean. Let's go to the hosted app and clear this. We have 89 minus 6, hit the equal sign. That just takes us straight to 83. So we don't ever want to see the equal sign. Now back to localhost and over to WebStorm. We want to add a condition to line 21. So we want to only do this if btn value. So if the btn value is not equal to the equal sign. So if the btn value is not the equal sign, then we can now do this. So don't add the equal sign to the display at all. All right, now if we click on the equal sign, it never gets added to the display. We also want to do, so this equal sign, we're going to have a function for the equal sign. So when we click on the equal sign, when we hit the equal sign button, it's going to calculate and then do something for us. Now let's create a calculate function. So right here on line 9, I'm going to create a calculate function. So this is another good reason we have the first value and the second value as variables. So this is calculate, and that's equal to an arrow function. And then we have first value. Right now, the first value is a string. Look at this. First value is a string. The reason it's a string is so that we'll be able to concatenate. So 6, 8, 9, 6. We'll be able to concatenate. If it was not a string, right here, when we do 6, first value plus equal to btn value, instead of 68, we're going to have 6 plus 8, which is 14. So that's why we have this as strings, so that if we type 6 and 8, 6 plus 8 is 68 instead of 14. So 68 as a string. So right now, what we want to do here is convert this back to a number. So pass float, this is going to give us a float. We have pass float instead of pass int because remember we are using the full stop, the dot symbol in our calculator. So we can have 2.5 or 0.5 or 0.9 and all that. So first value is equal to pass float first value, and then second value is equal to pass float second value right here. And right now we're going to start with this. So there are two ways to do this. We want to have calculations for all the different symbols. So plus, minus, x, divides, modulus for percentage, c, and equal to. We can do this using the switch case. So switch and then case, JavaScript switch statement, case for plus, minus, x, divides. I've done this before. So in the master branch of the repo you're going to check out, you're going to see the implementation using switch. But then using the if statements is a lot shorter. So with this, we can just say if symbol is plus, then results right here. So let's create a result variable right here. And that's going to be let result is equal to this empty string. We can also just take it over to this place. Our calculator is not a pure function, so there's no need having it there right now. Let everything we are doing be clear. If symbol is equal to plus, then result is equal to first value plus second value. Right. Now here's what we're going to do with the results. At the end of the day, we're going to say this. At the end of the day, inner text, display.inner text is equal to the new result. So if we say 5 plus 5, and that's equal to something. So it's going to calculate. So symbol is plus when it's doing the calculation. And then, so that's going to be first value 5 plus second value 5. And that's going to be equal to 10. And then immediately display.inner text should be 10, which is the result. So if symbol is plus, do that. If symbol is minus, result should be first value minus second value. So first value minus second value. Let's duplicate this. So if symbol is x for times, first value times second value. If symbol is divide, once again I need my divide symbol, and divide right here, first value slash. So in JavaScript you use a slash to divide, and this should be the last one. If symbol is this percentage sign, first value modulus second value, and then we have display.inner text is equal to result. Right here, immediately we do this, 89 minus 5, and we have 84. Immediately 84 is the first value, so that we can just go on with this and continue calculating. 84 times 2, so now we have 84 as the first value and then 2 as the second value, and that's equal to 168. So if you want to calculate like multiple numbers at the row, so want to do 168 plus 5, maybe if you're calculating scores, plus 7 minus 9 times 6 and all that, immediately we have the result. That result becomes the first value, and then we can now have second value. So that's what we want to do here. So right here we're going to say this, first value is also equal to the result. We can do this beneath the display.inner text. So display.inner text equals to result. Also first value should be equal to result, and second value, we're going to reset the value of second value. Second value is empty. Okay, so that's for our calculate function. Now how do we use this calculate function? We're going to use our calculate function in this condition on line 30. So if there's first value and then there's the symbol, remember we only want to calculate if there's a first value. Now if the btn value is symbol and there's also a second value, so we can do this if there's first value and then the user clicks on the symbol and they want to check again and say, and as users clicked on the symbol, if there's also a second value right here, then do something. So an easy way to do this is just write this. So second value and then call the calculate function. So if there's first value and the user clicks on the symbol, that's so that as a user, if I click on -5, I don't need to click on equal to see the answer. I can just continue. I can go ahead and click on times 2. I have my result. -48 -1000. I can just continue. So once I click the minus again, another symbol, it just does a calculation again. I don't have to click the equal sign to get another calculation. You see that? So that's why we have this. So if there's a first value and then the button's value, the user clicks on the symbol, and then there's also a second value, then calculate. Let's try this out right now. So 7 minus 9 and minus, so we have -2, -8 and plus 78, and look at that, -68 minus 2, which is 66, and then the equal button gives us 71. So 71 minus 9, and that's equal to 62, minus 8, and that's equal to 60, that's equal to 54. All right. Another thing we want to do is clear this. So let's make this work. This symbol, the C symbol. How we're going to do that? Let's come over to line 30 right here and say this. So if the button's value is C, then we want to clear everything. So this should be easy to implement. First value is equal to an empty string. Second, so we're just clearing everything. Second value is equal to an empty string, and then return display. So let our function end right here. So return display dot inner text is equal to an empty string. So right there. So this is going to clear everything. So let's try this. Yeah, that works. So let's try this again. So look at that. Another way to implement this, right, if we want this to be shorter, because we also want to clear the symbol too. So right now the symbol is probably minus the last symbol we saved, but we also want to clear the symbol. So you can see that right here we have first value is equal to an empty string, second value is equal to an empty string, symbol is equal to an empty string. We can easily do this way. So first value is equal to second value, which is equal to symbol, which is equal to the empty string. So everything is equal to the empty string. Let's try this again. 78 minus 5, that's equal to 73. We clear this, and that's working. All right, another thing we want to do right here, we type 35 and then equal to, and minus 5, we have none. That's because when we imputed 35 and then equal to, we are trying to calculate, but we want to prevent this from calculating if there's no second value. So what we're going to do right here is say this: if there's no second value and the button's value is equal to the equal sign, then we return null. So don't do anything, just end the function right there. Now if we do this 5 or 56 and then equal to, nothing is happening, and then minus 5, we have 51 right there. And that should be all for now. So we have 51 plus 5, which is equal to 56, minus 5, which is equal to 51. And this is the task I want you to do right now. So I'm not going to complete everything right now. There's something there. There's 51, which is the first value. We can say 51 minus 5, which is 46 with the first value. But what if I don't want to clear this and I just want to start a new calculation? So this is the first value, 46, which we got from the equal sign. When we calculated, we got the first value as 46. What if I want to just go straight to type in 78 right here? So there's something there, but I want this to just be 78. I want to start a new calculation. 78 minus 5. Look at that. We have a problem right there. So that's what I want you to implement next. So right now, if there's something on the screen, right as a result, and then I want to start typing something new right here. It should clear what's on the screen and then give me the new value from the beginning. So let's clear this, and then look at this. I have 78 minus 9 divided by 5, which is working, times 6. This is all working right now. But right here, I got this from a result, and I just want to start typing. I want to start a new calculation. When I hit 5 right now, I want just 5 to show on the screen as the first value instead of what we have right now. So that's the first thing I want you to do. The next thing I want you to do is this. So let's add a to-do for backspace functionality. So add the backspace functionality. So this button right here that's currently empty, make it a backspace. So that if we have 8965 and then hit the backspace functionality, that should remove 5. Hit the backspace functionality, that should remove 6, and we have just 89. Hit the backspace button rather, and we have just 8. So add backspace functionality. And then another one I want you to do right here. So look at this, 78 minus, right? Oh, what if I change my mind? It's not minus I want to use. I want to do 78 plus 5. What I want right now is if I hit the 78, I have minus. And then if I hit the plus button, that should replace this minus symbol right here. So if I hit the plus button, I should see 78 plus instead of 78 minus and then plus. So if the last character in the display is a symbol and the user clicks on another symbol, replace the last character with a new symbol. Let's also add that he has a to do. So if the last character in the display is a symbol and the user clicks on another symbol, replace the last character with the new symbol. And finally, did I mention that I want to give a free Udemy course to the person with the best implementation for these tasks? So like complete this task, send it to me right there, leave it in the comment section, or send it to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. I'm going to give you a free Udemy course to the person with the best implementation for this. And the last one right here, let's see, let's do this. There's a problem. Let me show you the problem. Let's clear this, and then we say 78 minus 78, which is equal to 0. Now we want to say 0 plus 5. See, we have a problem. We have a problem. Everything works very well. 86 minus 6, 85 minus 6, which is 79. But if the result is 0, so 79 minus 79 is 0. If the result is 0, then our calculator stops calculating. Why is that happening? Look at that. 89. Okay, let's try this. 97 minus 97. Everything works until the result is 0. And then our calculator stops calculating. So 78, 789 minus 56. Everything works perfectly until the result is 0. So right here we have 2678 minus 2678. And look at that. The result is 0. So let's continue. 0 plus 5. And nah, look at that. That's not working. So let's say this is a fix right here. So to do and then fix. If the result is 0, the calculator stops calculating. So calculator stops calculating, the result is 0. And that's it. That's it. Feel free to check out the master branch where I have the other implementation without all these problems. Feel free to check it out, go through it. I used pure functions there too, so it's different implementation, but check it out, see what it looks like. And then if you can get this working and send it over to me, I'm going to give you a free Udemy course of your choice to the best person. I won't be able to give everyone who sends it. So the best implementation, I'm going to give you a free Udemy course of your choice. And even if I don't give you, I mean, you have to do this, please, so you learn. So you don't do this because I want to give you a free Udemy course. Do it because you want to learn. All right. Now for the part a lot of people have been waiting for. How do we make this work offline? How do we make this installable? How can I install this calculator in my phone and use it like a normal application? Yup, I'm going to teach you that. I'm going to show you that in the next video. I'm right now. The next video is already available, so check it out right now. I'm going to show you how to do that right now, so this video is not unnecessarily too long. All right, so see you right now.